Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character we'll be looking into is Saxosaurus. So we'll be going through this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before we do any of that, do be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, just a small disclaimer, this is not linked to the overall universe and lore of Poppy Playtime. This is just a concept character that we've created, so keep that in mind and enjoy the video. But alrighty, without further delay, let's get into the story of Saxosaurus. So previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we took a look at the return of Pianosaurus. It turns out that the patient rebuilt his body and injected him with the secret serum known as SM-27. This chemical compound gives the toys the ability to come back to life and regenerate themselves. But as we've seen before, this usually comes with some side effects. Pianosaurus came back as a monstrous version of himself, and in his new state, he was determined to destroy the player. Luckily, the player managed to escape the jaws of this deranged toy dinosaur. But unfortunately for the player, this wouldn't be the last musical dino that they run into. It turns out that Pianosaurus was one of a larger toy set, and soon enough, the player would meet the other members of the band. Speaking of, let's meet this new toy character now. So the next musical dinosaur character we're introducing is known as Saxosaurus. This shiny gold and purple dinosaur is a mix of a Spinosaurus and a saxophone. Just like Pianosaurus, he too can be played like a musical instrument. With his tail being the mouthpiece, his sound comes from the multiple keys on his body and the bell inside his mouth and on his hands. He can produce multiple different tones and be played just like a real saxophone. This cute musical dinosaur proved to be quite the successful toy. Saxosaurus wasn't as popular as Pianosaurus, but he was still considered to be the second best seller of the set. So back at the factory, the original Saxosaurus toy was considered for the Bigger Bodies initiative. And just like the others in this research facility, he too was injected with the SM-27 compound. At first, things were going well. If any of his plastic parts were broken or damaged, they'd regenerate in a matter of minutes. But the researchers eventually pushed Saxosaurus' body to its limit, and what regenerated was something much worse. He became much more ferocious and filled with rage. Multiple workers tried to contain him, but in the end fell victim to his deadly claws and teeth. No workers or researchers dared get close to Saxosaurus, and if he got close to you, then you're pretty much as good as gone. So now we return back to the player. They found themselves in a strange looking chemistry lab. It appears this is the place where they developed the SM-27 compound, and this is only confirmed when they find another VHS tape.
Hello, this is head chemist Dr. Bailey, reporting on the final status of compound SM-27. As of now, testing for the new serum has yielded unsatisfactory outcomes. Subjects that have received SM-27 have successfully revived and regenerated. But what follows after this process can only be described as abnormal. Subjects are reported to have deformed bodies and high levels of aggression. Despite Dr. Harley Sawyer's wishes, I've decided to pull the plug on this project. Once a toy is broken, it should stay that way. We should have never brought them back to life. I believe I've developed an anti-serum that can counteract the effects of SM-27. It's still in the trial stages, but hopefully this will wake us from the nightmare we've created.
So it seems that Dr. Bailey has found a way to stop this horrible regeneration process. All the player needs to do is follow his specific formula and create an anti-serum of their own. The player just needs to find these elements and they can start right away. So they roam around the facility and look for these chemicals. They need the compounds C136, B245, and A722. Eventually they find the first chemical, and as soon as they grab it, something else tries to grab them. They quickly dodge whatever just tried to attack them. As they look up, it's revealed to be Saxosaurus. His new, enraged body looks much more imposing than his friendly toy counterpart. His mouth is filled with sharp, jagged teeth, and his bare hands have grown into deadly claws. He charges towards the player once more, and the player needs to run away and get to safety. As they run through the multiple corridors, Saxosaurus will be right behind them. There's multiple grappling points the player can grab onto, and they can hoist themselves out of danger. For now, it seems that they've lost this deranged toy, and now they just need to find these last two chemicals. After searching high and low, they locate the next one. But it seems that Saxosaurus has located them as well. The player will need to sneak past him to get to the last chemical. If they make any sudden movements or sounds, then Saxo will find them and devour them. So little by little, they sneak to the final room, and it's here where they collect the last chemical. Now they just need to rush back to the chem lab, but as soon as they leave this room, an alarm starts to sound. Dr. Sawyer must have rigged this room to sound the alarm if anyone were to get this important chemical. It doesn't take long for Saxosaurus to find the player, and now he's not going to let them get away this time. So now the race is on to get back to the chemistry lab. The player just needs to get there alive in order to make the anti-serum. But with Saxosaurus chasing after them, it won't be an easy task. The player can slow him down by activating a series of blast doors. But these doors won't do much to hold back this ferocious dino. Eventually, after running for their life, they finally make it back to the lab. They quickly mix up the chemicals before Saxo can break himself inside the room. After quickly mixing everything together, it looks like they have the right ratio. Moments later, Saxosaurus breaks into the chemistry lab. And with nothing left to lose, the player throws the vial directly at his face. A cloud of green gas erupts as the vial shatters. And in a few seconds, the player will know if it worked or not. And as the cloud fades away, they get their answer. Well, it seems the formula they made was far too potent. They would need to try again in order to get it right. But fortunately, Saxosaurus won't be bothering them anymore. It seems that it has halted the regeneration process, but due to its high concentration, it has dissolved half of his body. Well, hopefully the player can get the mixture right, and then they can save the poor souls trapped inside this facility. But we won't know what happens until the next episode. And like always, we'll just have to wait and see. So I think the idea of Saxosaurus would be pretty awesome to see. I like the idea of there being more musical dinosaur toys just like Pianosaurus. It would be interesting to see what other characters belong to this toy line. I think that Saxosaurus would also be quite the challenging enemy to face. He would surely keep the player on their toes and never stop chasing them, but being chased by evil toys is nothing new for the player. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of Saxosaurus and what you'd like to see going forward. As always, we just want to thank each and every one of you for watching today's video and leaving a like and commenting as well. Also, a very big thank you to all of our Gamerjoob members who help support the channel. But alrighty everyone, until our next Poppy Playtime character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.